Alright, so this will be a video for my Tech Ed class on how to complete ACC part number 2 or ACC 2 part number 3. We're going to walk through this pretty quickly here so that you guys can have this during class time. We're going to get this drawing submitted in along with some mass properties. But yes, we're going to get this done pretty quickly. So first and foremost, when we ever design a part, we first have to know what units we are using. Okay, so in this case, we have to look at the drawing or the answer key provided. We got to look somewhere on there for either, if there's a metric box, we're in metric. If there's no box on there, we're in inches. Okay, so in this case right now, I see metric. So the part we will start with will be a metric part. So I'm going to go to File, New, on the top of my screen. You should be in your SOLIDWORKS template folder we set up the last week. Okay, so this is where you should be starting everything from this point on in class. I'm going to go ahead and highlight the word metric here in the first row. And I'm going to say OK. Now I'm going to come back to here and I'm going to take a real quick peek at this part. Now the way I'm going to end up doing this part is I'm actually going to start on my, I think I'm going to start on the right side. I'm going to create basically this little piece of an outline right here where this dotted line is part of that outline. I am then going to extrude it across over to this side. Okay, I am then going to take and highlight the face that's going to be here in just a moment. We will then draw like this M shape, and we're going to extrude it back to this back edge here. And then I'm going to hit the bottom face of this and draw a box around it that will have 4 circles that will then extrude, add our material, get our mass, and then create this drawing. Okay, so what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to create this shape right here. So I'm going to slide this over to my other screen for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and start this on a right plane in my design tree over here. I'm going to left click and turn on the sketch tool, which is this first little icon next to the eye. Left click, and now my right plane becomes normal to my screen. Now I'm going to start real simply just with a line tool. This one, I'm just going to start right here at the origin and go over here to my right. I'm going to go up, pull down, and close. Hit escape and hit my F key. All right, now, turning on my Smart Dimension, I've got to figure out some of the sizing here. All right, so I got to figure out first and foremost how big everything is. In this case here, I do know that this distance here will be 50, and I'm actually going to make that 50. And actually pull this, I'm going to take that off real quick. I'm actually going to go from this side to this side and pull it straight up. That should be 50. This front edge is actually, if you're looking at the drawing, will be 26 millimeters minus 14, which is 12. Okay, the height of this line over here is going to actually be, looks like 54 minus 14. So 54 minus 14, I'm getting that from that front view. Okay, so I got to go here and here. Okay, so there are all my numbers. I'll flip that inside, hit my F key so you can take a bigger peek at that. But now I see everything in black, which means that everything is fully defined and SOLIDWORKS is happy. It also says fully defined down here, which is good. That's what we always should have, is a fully defined sketch. Now what I want to do is I want to go to my features toolbar and I'm going to extrude this a distance of 80 millimeters. 40 plus 40 is 80. Okay, so I'm going to do an extruded boss base. I'm going to go ahead here, and what I'll do in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and make this 80 millimeters across, 80, and hit enter. Okay, now if you want to go the other direction, all you'd have to do is right next to the word blind here, you would left click on this double arrow and you can flip direction either way. I don't care which way you go. I just want to see a wedge shape when you're done. So I'm going to hit my check mark. I'm going to hit my F key to center. And then before I do anything else, I want to save this and I want to go ahead and add my material. The reason I want to add my material is it's really hard to draw on blue figures because the lines you will draw or anything you draw sketching wise will also be blue. And blue on blue is very hard to see. So what I want to do first is do a Control and the S key. I'm going to save this and give this a title of ACC2 underscore your last name. Okay, in this case I put my last name. Let's hit save. Then up here on your design tree, under the word equations right here, I'm going to right-click the word material. I'm going to go to edit material. And we are going to go and look under our material sheet here, under the word woods, and we're going to pick the word pine. We are going to apply and close. So now it looks like a piece of wood. Okay. Now from here, again, I'm going to do it really fast there, Control Save so I don't lose my material. I am now going to highlight this front face. I'm going to start a sketch on that front face and do a space bar and a normal 2. Okay, now what I want to create for this is I'm going to pull off of here, and I'll pull this back over. I am going to draw an M shape like you see right here. Okay, so I'm just going to draw an M shape, and then we're going to extrude that back into this part. So let me go back over this way. I'm going to turn on my line tool, and I'm going to start from this corner. I'm going to go up to this corner here. I'm going to pull down just short of that edge there, approximately in the middle. Pull back to this corner. Pull all the way to this bottom. And then all the way back over here. Okay, so there is my figure. I'm going to turn on my Smart Dimension tool. From this tip to this bottom line, that will be 26. Oh, take that back. Sorry. No, well, that'd be 26 minus 14. That'll be 12. So, no, not 12. Excuse me. That's 14. Hold on. So that should be, sorry, I got to look at this real quick. Escape. That distance there, yeah, that should be 12. That is 12. My bad. Okay. Now, I'm going to go Smart Dimension from this tip right here to this tip here and pull straight up. That distance should be 40 millimeters. Okay, so if I'm looking from the isometric view, I should see an M shape right here. Now, from here, I'm going to go to Features, Extrude Emboss Base, flip your direction, and I want you to go up here and say Up to Next. Now what that does, it blends in and will stop when it sees the back face of this. It basically goes up to next and stops right here at these corners. Okay. If yours is not working that way, you can also do up to surface. Use your middle mouse button and rotate and click on this back face. So what that tells SOLIDWORKS is I want you to extrude this until you see this back face, then stop. Okay. Now again, I prefer up to next. I think it looks cleaner, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Rotate around. That looks pretty good. I'm going to hit my check mark. And do an isometric view. And now do a Control Save. This is the only way to really create this cup. It's a dual extrusion, 2 extrusions into 1. Okay. Now, I'm going to rotate around, highlight this bottom face, and start a new sketch. Space bar. Normal 2. Corner rectangle. I'm going to draw a large rectangle around this and hit Escape. Turn on your Smart Dimension. Okay. Your rectangle from this edge here to here, I'm going to pull that down, will be 25. From here to here will also be 25. And then the length of this side here will be 100 millimeters. And this bottom length down here will be 130 millimeters. Okay, so there's your numbers right there, 25 and 25. I'll pull that down a little bit. 100 on the side, 130 across the front. Now, with that done, I'm going to hit my Features toolbar. I'll go out here and do a spacebar isometric so you can see what I'm doing. So there are my current dimensions. I am now going to take and extrude downward. You want to make sure it's not going up into the part. We're going to go down 14 millimeters. 1, 4. Enter. Hit your check mark. Okay. And then last but not least, we need to add our 4 holes in here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is click on this face, start a new sketch, spacebar, normal 2. I'm going to draw 4 circles, one in kind of each corner here. Hit escape here. I'm going to turn on my Smart Dimension tool and dimension this hole right here to diameter 12. Enter. I'll hit escape. Now I'm going to introduce a new concept to you called relationships. If you hold your control key down on your keyboard and with it staying held down, click on the edge of each of your 4 circles, you will see over here in the Property Manager, under the Relationship Property Manager, you have some choices. You can make it co-radial, concentric, equal, fix, equal curve length. All I want you to do is left click on the word equal, excuse me, and now all 4 circles are exactly the same size. Hit that check mark there. Turn on your Smart Dimension tool. Now I'm going to go from this edge here to this edge here and pull down and make that 15 millimeters. From this center to down below, I'll make this 15 millimeters. Okay, so there it takes care of that. And then I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to go from here to this top, make that 15 millimeters. Make this one from here to here at 15 millimeters. And then at this point, you can either continue adding dimensions or, again, use a relationship tool. I like adding in relationships here because it makes it easier. If I change a number, everything changes with it. So I'm going to hold that control key one more time, keep it held, and I'm going to take the center of this circle here in the upper right and the center of the one on the lower right, and I'm going to make those 2 vertical. Hit your check mark. Hold your control key again. I'm going to hit the center of this upper right. I'm going to hit the center of the upper left and make these 2 horizontal. Hit your check mark. I'm going to take my control key and hold it again. Hit the center of my far lower right circle and my lower left circle and make them horizontal. Check mark. Control key one last time. Hit the center of this bottom left circle, the center of the upper left circle, and make them vertical. Hit your check mark. I'm going to hit my space bar and do an isometric view. Go to my Features toolbar and do an extruded cut and drop that to Through All. And hit my check mark. Okay, so my part is now done. So I'm going to do a quick Control S to save it. And now I'm going to go ahead and go to my Evaluate tab and go to Mass Properties. Your mass property shows it weighs 101.43 grams. I'm going to want you to print this mass property, go to the printer, collect it, and bring it back to your desk. As soon as you have it at your desk, we're going to go ahead and close this out. Come back up here to the top toolbar and do a File New. We are now going to place this part onto a GHSB metric border and say OK. Now my part hopefully is showing open over here. If it is not, you'll need to browse for it. I'm going to go right here to ACC2. I'm going to double click. I'm going to now set up my drawing, and this will be the same thing we do for this entire semester. We will start with a front view. I will turn on my preview by checking this box. I will turn on the hidden lines under display style, and I want the scale to be custom scale, and I want you to drop this down and roll your mouse ball up to 1:1. I will now come out over here onto my drawing, and in this left corner I will do a left click, pull straight up, left click, pull to my right, left click, and then pull up an isometric view at an angle, left click and hit escape. Now I'm going to take this one up here and left click and hold and drag it to place. And why I have this box highlighted here, I'm going to come to the left and turn it to color. And then I want you to change the scale from 1:1 back to 1:2. Hit your check mark. Adjust. And then I want you to highlight each one of these black lines and hit delete. Now, at this point, I'm going to come in here and go to my annotation toolbar. And we are going to come up here and turn on my Smart Dimension tool. And with your Smart Dimension tool on, we are going to go around and start adding dimensions. So I'll start from the right side and dimension from this line here to this line here, a dimension of 25. This line right here, I will click on it and move up. That will be 50. Slide over to this view. I'll click this line. This will be 14. I will click these little dots behind the arrowhead to flip the dots inside, or the arrows inside. From this point to this bottom line will be 26. From this top line to this bottom line, oops, delete that. From this top line here to the bottom line here will be 54. From this point here to this line right here will be 40. From this point here to this line here will also be 40. And then from this left line here to this right or left-hand line here will be 25. Slide myself up here again. From this circle to this edge will be 15, and I'll flip those arrows to the inside by clicking on the dot. From this circle over here to this edge here will also be 15. Flip the arrow to the inside. This line will be 130. From the circle to this line here will be 15, and I'll flip the arrows to the inside. I will then click on the circle and pull down. And why I have this still highlighted, over to my left where I see this white box over here in the Property Manager, I am going to take and click my cursor behind the word DIM, so right behind that caret. Caps lock on, I will type the following: space THRU space ALL, enter the number 4 space HOLES, holes, and then hit your green check mark. Drag where you need it. Okay, I'm going to click from this circle here to, oops, I got to turn my Smart Dimension back on. From this circle here to this line here will be 15. Flip the arrows in. Click this line, 100, and at this point, all of your dimensions are done. So I'm going to do a quick Control Save. Yes, update views before save, and save. I'm then going to come back over here to my PDF file. I'm going to left click and drag over the top of that title. Do a Control Copy, Control C. I'm going to go over here and turn on my annotation toolbar and click on Note. Put my note right underneath and do a Control V. Left click and drag all the way over this entire title right here and hit Center. And then left click and drag over this top line and make underline. Okay, don't forget to add in your mass here. It was like 101 point something. Okay, you need to add the mass there. That should be on your mass sheet. Type that in exactly as it's supposed to. Click outside and hit Escape. Last but not least, place title here. We are going to type in the following: SWX part drawing space dash space ACC 2. Scale will be 1:1. Drawn by will be your first initial last name. Today's date, 01/22/21. Actually, you'll put in the date you produced this. This is the day I produced it. Period will stay at 3A. Check by will change to my name since I'm the one grading it. And at this point, do a Control or F key, Control S. Your part is now saved. I want you to do a file print. Print this over at the printer. Take your mass property sheet you printed earlier. I want you to staple to the upper left-hand corner, fold in half, and submit to Mr. Combs. Okay. Use this video to your advantage. Take your time, pause, rewind as necessary. Otherwise, get this drawing done and submit it in. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. Good luck.